Leaders, welcome to our video. Today we're going to be talking our second part of the Wolfpack VIP marriage building blocks. Today we're going to be covering perspectives. So we want to share a story that we had that was a huge issue at that you know she got really upset with. So why don't you go ahead and start with that story, and then we're going to go ahead and break it down with our perspectives.
Okay, so I'm gonna go into a little bit of background story before. Our son, he's our rainbow baby. Okay, we had 3 miscarriages after our daughter before we're having him, and so I have, a little bit of an emotion attached to that, and I want him to be our baby for as long as we can get him to be our baby. But he was born with a full head of hair, just like our daughter was, and it was getting really long, and I was having to put it in a little ponytail to keep it out of his eyes, and so I knew we had to cut it. And I had probably been talking about this haircut. I knew it was coming, so I'd probably been talking about it for at least 2 months, and trying to communicate with him how I knew we needed to cut it soon, and kind of the idea of what I wanted it to look like, and how I wanted him to still look like a baby and not look like a toddler already, because he was only 4 months old. He was born mid-July, and this was Thanksgiving Day is when we ended up cutting it. And I told him I didn't want to give him a buzz cut, and I used a lot of different terminology. I believe I used the specific term fade, but I did not want him to have a fade at some point in the many conversations that we had. But it came down to the actual haircut. And so I started with scissors just to trim the edges, like the back and around the ears and just the front forehead area. And he looked kind of like one of the Three Stooges.
Yeah.
Because it was so froey, poof, flat.
It was like Dumb and Dumber cut.
It was bad. And so I knew that the rest of the hair needed to be trimmed, but I didn't want to do it with the scissors because he's 4 months old and he wasn't really having an easy time holding his head still while I was cutting with the scissors. So I didn't want to try more with the scissors and end up hurting him or just having a really crazy bad haircut. So I told him, okay, we'll use the clippers. But I told him, I was like, I want it to stay long. I don't want it to be short. And then we cut his hair. We used the attachment on the clippers, and it was perfect. It looked fantastic. And then he decided to take the guard off of the clippers. And I told him, whoa, wait a minute. I don't want that on his head. It's too short. I don't want that on his head. And he came back with the response of, no, I know. I'm just going to clean up the edges, the sides a little bit. And so I'm thinking, he's going to, turn it upside down and just kind of make sure, the neck hair is, cleaned up and, it's, a good trim around the ears, kind of like that. Well, he does not do that. He just goes right up the side of our son's head. And I was livid. There's not a better word for it. I was livid. And didn't say anything at first. Just bit my tongue. And I was just really, really upset. And our daughter, she's 5.5. She's aware of things, and she saw the look on my face. And she goes, Mommy, what's wrong? And then Ian decides that he's going to handle this in a way that did not help me to calm down. But he just said, well, I'm not doing it anymore until you calm down. I'm going to just walk away. And that probably was one of the worst ways he could have handled it from my perspective, from my point of view. Because I then felt like he was holding the haircut over my head, because I don't want my son to just have this one strip of shaved head, and it was right in the front, right here. And I mean, you did that. You have to finish. There's no getting around it. You have to finish. The whole head now has to be shaved like that. So there's not really anything. There's no negotiating at that point. That's it, and that's going to happen. And I don't want my son looking like he has an unfinished haircut. No, we're not going to leave it with just one patch shaved. That's not happening. But I can't shave his head myself without help because he's 4 months old. He can't sit up and hold still or anything. So what he chose to do, just walk out of the bathroom where we're shaving or cutting our child's head, turned out to be shaving our child's head, was not well received by me. And I got him to come back in and finish the job. But then he decided he needed to talk to me about the fact that I was angry about what happened. But then he was very accusatory in that, telling me that I shouldn't be angry and that that's not very godly, which was just kind of pouring fuel on the fire, right? And this is a great example of what not to do in your communication, this story. But I trying so hard to bite my tongue and to just calm down, and I was not able to do that because I wasn't given space or time. And I just blew up. And it's one of those times where you hear things coming out of your mouth and you're like, I need to stop talking now, but you just can't stop because you're just so emotional. I did the best I could to temper and to not scream or physically harm anyone or anything. But I was I was so angry.
Yeah, if you can imagine an angry gorilla in the hall, banging walls and stuff.
I punched our wall in our hallway because I needed some way to physically vent to some of the steam inside of me. And I wasn't cussing, I wasn't name calling, I wasn't doing any of those disrespectful things, but I was having a very, very hard time maintaining a respectful attitude towards my husband, and I was having a very hard time with just self-control in general. I was so I think I was shaking. I was so angry, how I felt betrayed, I felt lied to, I felt tricked, I felt all these negative things. So
and then you were talking about was I just incompetent or whatever it was, or did I really do it too?
Yeah, I felt there was only two options. You're totally an idiot. Because I did a pretty thorough job of explaining what I wanted to happen with this haircut situation. So either you didn't understand me at all and you're just a complete idiot, or you purposefully just decided that you wanted a different haircut, didn't want to talk to me about it, and just did it. So either you're an idiot or you're a liar or a cheater. What's going on?
So those are the perspectives she had on me,
yeah,
which are both bad. There's really no way out of it. And the perspective is you choose this one, and I'm still screwed. So let me share my perspective or my story on what I was thinking. I was all right, so she wanted her haircut. She's been talking about it, like you said. She wanted to keep it long. I'm great, even though it looks like Dumb and Dumber, it's okay, whatever. It's, you want his haircut to be the way you cut it, okay? And then I was all right, cool, whatever. It's fine. It just, we'll deal with it later. We'll accept him as, his hair, as is. And then all of a sudden it's okay, when you get, let's just use the buzzer. I was oh, change your heart. I thought I was totally cool this way, but now she wanted to buzz. So I thought it was change your heart on the full swing over to my side. And so she's no, right? And so,
first of all, we've been married. We're coming up on our 10-year anniversary. Has there ever, in the history of our relationship, married or not, have I ever had a full like 180? Just F it, let's go do whatever. Like
that was my
happened.
And so this is the
This
thing.
comes down to knowing your wife too.
Perspective and the assumption of that. Okay. And assuming that I know her,
which you should know me better than that by now.
Right. And then expectation. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And that can cause that too. Same expectations we had on honeymoon stuff, what we can talk about later. So let me just continue with this. So I'm just sharing my side on my story and my thinking. Okay. And then, so I thought that was the full transition over to the way I would want it, because I thought initially, in my perspective, hey, I'm gonna just do a full transition to hers. But since she wants me to buzz it, okay, I guess, I'll, yeah, full transition to my side. So I was like, all right, cool. So I was like, all right, did the top part, it's fine. And then, yeah, I was like, and I was gonna go in for it, and I took the thing off, and I was like, yeah. She's like, I'm gonna clean up the edges, right? And then in my perspective was fading it all the way to clean up the edges of the sides, if you want to call it. We didn't use really the word don't fade it, so I thought that cleaning the edges was that. So when I went in and I was like, oh, what's going on? I thought we were having a change of heart. Now she's mad. I think I need to stop what I'm doing now before I continue with this, build up of, as I fade more, she's gonna get really even more angry. So I should probably stop and let her cool down. Let's talk about what happened. Like that, we had to change your heart. Now, are you saying you're not? And so my intention wasn't to smite her or to, trick her or whatever. I thought it was that perspective. Okay, and so I was like, all right, fine. She got me back. I was like, all right, fine. Let me just, I'll clean it up, whatever. Finish it. And then she went berserk, and then I just kind of was like, what's going on? So
berserk, huh?
Yeah, and so I just, let her be, let it out, and I didn't want to put any more fuel to the fire, so I didn't say anything. I just keep my mouth shut and zip, and just watched. Okay, now what can you do? And so after she calmed down, she was just thinking to herself those two things: whether I'm an idiot or whether I'm just being a punk or whatever, an a-hole. Right? And then so we had to do our perspective exercise. Yeah. And so this is where we went ahead and shared that perspective exercise. And it turns out that we're going to actually break it down right now. So, honey, share with me your thoughts and perspective, and I will then understand it and repeat it back to you. Go ahead. So we're going to repeat what we kind of said, but we're just going to go through the process.
Okay. I think and feel like I did a pretty good job explaining the haircut I wanted, and when I said that we could use the buzzers, I put a qualifier on there that I did not want it was too short, that I wanted to keep it long. And you confirmed that you did understand me on that. So I feel like you have betrayed me and lied to me by giving our son a fade. And not only a fade, but a really short fade.
Okay. Are you done?
Yeah.
Okay. So what you just told me, I'm going to tell you what you just told me so that you can understand what I just said. Okay. You were telling me, or what you just said, so I understand what you just said. Okay. All right,
you understand that I understand.
I understand that you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I will repeat that scenario over and over until it kind of slows it down a little bit, and then you can kind of go ahead. All right. So what you're telling me that you have been talking about this haircut and you want his hair long, and we thought that we were on the same page. We had clarified that you wanted him to have long hair. After the shaving the top, I ended up fading his side really short, which is what you did not want. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Let me share with you my perspective. And this is a backstory is that we actually spent a good hour or two breaking this perspective down on paper and everything. And we're kind of doing a summary perspectives right now.
Yeah, this is the quick version.
This is the quick version, okay? So if you wanted to know more, you can join a VIP group, and we'll give you more on that or how to break it down in more detail. But anyways, so here's my perspective. When I had heard that you wanted to buzz his hair, I initially thought that you want a full change of heart over, and so the whole time I had the perspective of buzzing it the way I wanted to be buzzed, because I had the perspective that you want to hit long that way with the trim, we'll keep it that way. But for you to say that, I thought it was a full 180, and so then when I started it and you got mad, I stopped because I didn't want to offend you anymore because I thought we were on the same page, but we're not. And so because you got mad and told me to finish the job, I went ahead and finished the job, and that's kind of where we're at. Can you tell me what I just told you so I can understand that you understand what I just said?
Quick break. This phraseology that he likes to use annoys the heck out of me. But for whatever reason, when he doesn't use that, this conversation does not go as well.
It's just more like he fired back and forth.
Yeah. I wish there was another way for us to do it, but we found that this annoying phrase that he repeats over and over and over again is necessary for some reason. I don't know.
It puts structure into it,
I guess. But feel free to experiment on your own with your own relationship. Maybe you won't have to use the annoying phrase so much, but it's kind of essential in ours. Sorry. Okay, so I understand you to say that you thought we were on the same page and that I was in full agreement that you were going to give our son a fade, just like your haircut. So that's why you gave him a fade, and you stopped and left the bathroom because you wanted to give me space to calm down, and you wanted to talk about it more, basically, before finishing the haircut. Is that correct?
Not quite, and it was not quite. You kind of asked her. I'll repeat it again so she can fix it. So I had the perspective that you did a complete 180 to the way I would want his hair.
So you want me to use that phrase?
Yeah, complete 180, like a change of heart, to do it the way I had in mind. And so the 1¼ inch, top, kind of like how I have my hair now, was what I thought was the long part, and then cleaning up the edges was the fade. Can you tell me what I just told you so I know that you understand?
So you thought that I had a complete 180 change of heart, and keeping it long was just on the top of the head, and cleaning up the edges was doing the fade on the sides.
Correct. So, and let me give a backstory to this. We actually found out that what she wanted was, she had her A plan, I had my B plan, and then she wanted to modify the A and the B where I would buzz the top, but then we kept the side on her the way she wanted, and then so we would have a C plan. And for me, modified, right? So
it's called compromise.
A compromise. In my perspective, it was her plan A, which switched to B, and I was like, all right, that was my perspective. And so we had to draw it all out and all this other stuff, but we finally figured that out after this perspective discussion was figured out. Before we didn't know that was what the perspective was. So now that I understand you and you understand me, but we don't have to agree with each other. But what can we do next time so that when we have our next haircut, this is an unforeseen event, it's the first haircut, that we can then be in agreement next time and on the same page that we can agree together. What would you do? What would you think I should do?
Well, I think that first of all, we need to not do it on a major holiday where we have time constraints. We gotta go somewhere and be with family, extended family and stuff. Second would be to maybe write down or look at pictures online to show examples, so we have a concrete, this is what I want, this is what I do not want. And that would avoid the need for using specific terms like fade or buzz, or because one fade can mean something different to me than it would to you, or buzzing, whatever, like those terms could bring different mental pictures to mind for you than they would for me.
Okay. And for me, I think that if you had said no fade, that would be a key for me not to do that.
Yeah, it would be helpful if we defined our trims together before using them, I think. Because, like, cleaning up the edges, to me, like, does not mean shaving the side of a head. Like, no. That's not. Like, that's not cleaning up anything. That's shaving. So, you know, stuff like that. Terminology is important. Definitions to terminology is important.
Okay, so on our next haircut, which we already had one, we had a better experience. We just buzzed the top and
well, we buzzed the whole head.
The whole head, but
we just left the guard off.
Yeah, we did fade it, and she used scissors to kind of trim the edge
around the ears.
And so it worked out. And so we learned from this.
I just lost my baby boy look for
a couple weeks.
2 months.
2 months. All right, so we were able to solve that issue and then move on. Okay, now check my outline here.
The baby's crying.
Oh, baby's crying. Okay.
I gotta go there, but baby.
All right. Okay, we're back.
I'm back with a baby.
I forgot to say one more thing. After we solve understand each other's perspective, we also would then ask for forgiveness. It doesn't matter who's right or who's wrong. It's the fact that she was offended and I'm offended, and we need to amend that relationship by asking each other for forgiveness. So, will you forgive me for misunderstanding you on the haircut issue? And I'll work on having a better idea on that language in the future, and have a better haircut experience.
Yes, you forgive me for becoming so angry and out of control.
I forgive.
Thank you.
All right, so then relationship's repaired, and then we can then move forward as a one flesh relationship on solving more problems. Because no matter what, we live with each other. We're always going to defend each other, moving on, and we can work on getting better and better with that. Okay? All right, so we do have more strategies on perspective, on switching role. That's another one that we also learn about and we can teach inside our VIP group. That really helps when the perspective doesn't work. And all these are band-aids for now, for communication issues and repairing the arguments that we get into. But there's one thing that I want to kind of address is that I hear a lot of a relationship, or at least when I was driving as an Uber driver, people like going through divorce, and I was like, what's going on? And usually it's because we weren't playing the roles that we're supposed to play as a husband and wife. Sometimes the wife would wear the pants of the family, and the husband would not lead because the wife is wearing the pants of the family. He doesn't have to lead or doesn't need to, because the wife's doing everything. And the wife gets frustrated because then she's being a mom and a dad, and she has to do both.
Not supported.
And then I'm not, and the husband's not supporting and being the leader and being part and being involved. He's just kind of on his own, doing his own thing, not involved, just work and not dealing with family and all this other stuff. And subordinating his leader position role as a husband. So on our next video, we want to talk about that, like the roles that we need to play, and in the relationship, in the marriage that that has been developed or formed for us, and as long as we play those roles, it aligns. It helps her to take off the stress of having to provide, which should be my role, having to be the leader and the authority figure, which should be my role, and where she can then be loving by being respectful, and I can love my wife, which we're not as loving, but we can focus on loving her, and loving her then institutes
in an understanding
way, which show more respect towards me, which means a lot to me. Okay, because we're very insecure about respect and all that other stuff. And I think that is all we have for today. Stay tuned, subscribe to our new oh yes, I want to also talk about one more thing: dedicated time. Leave this with you too. There are times when, you know, we don't understand this as guys because at first when we're dating we're like, yeah, all I want to do is be with her and take her out and do stuff. Then we get married, it totally changes because we have obligations and mortgage and bills and all this stuff, and we don't like date anymore or hardly date. So it's important that we all go on a date and we make the intention to go on a date. And if funds are an issue, is to just spend a dedicated mandatory hour, 1 hour, or you can do a half hour mandatory and the other half hour is optional if things come up. That Monday through Friday that you spend time with each other. Now for me, it's more like, hey, as long as I'm busy doing stuff, it's okay. But for her, she needs that connection, that relationship, for her to feel intimate, you know. Because then, like, if we're in bed trying to be intimate, we're like, who's this guy? I don't have to talk to you for the whole week. Like, who are you? Kind of thing. It's hard
Yeah,
for her
like
to.
there's no relationship.
There's no
It's just
relationship.
like I start to feel like I'm just like the hired help, like
Or just the roommate kind of thing.
yeah, like I don't know you, go away.
All right. Yeah. And so this was huge for us. It could be different for different relationships. But for me to spend an extra just a half hour per day, just to reconnect, talk to her, just hang out, doing nothing really,
Just snuggling on the
snuggling
couch.
on the couch, holding each other. We don't have to say anything at all. We just lay there.
That's how I prefer it.
That's how she prefers it.
I don't really like to talk.
She doesn't like talking, so it's
Problems come up when you talk.
and some women like to sit and do have conversations and talk about stuff and connect and all that stuff. But for her, just holding her is what means a lot for her. And just doing that alone over season covers a lot of the smaller problems that come up that built up from not spending that time with her. So that stuff with maybe the attic would have been that big of an issue. It could have been bigger, but it was, I would say, dampened because we had our half hour to an hour together. And small little things here about dishes or laundry or whatever, it just it's not an issue anymore. Like she was, I mean,
it's still an issue, but it's not like as big a deal.
It doesn't build up
emotionally. Yeah. It's not as big a deal because you have like a connection, a relationship. We're spending some time. Like there's actual like physical contact happening. That's just like a friendly, like, hey, how are you doing? Instead of like, hey, it's time for our, intimate time. Like,
and for me, I mean, I want the companionship of like getting together and doing stuff. So, for example, like what we're doing right now, this is like my kind of like dinner for guys. Like we're working on a project together, doing something that I enjoy, that I want to share with her and have her be part of. Working on projects and stuff. I know that you guys, men like to go fishing, want to bring their wives, or go hiking, go hunting. This is like the guys' candlelight dinner is for the wife to come enjoy that activity with them, And but now with marriage, like she's busy with kids, nursing. We don't do that stuff anymore. And so as we help reciprocate to each other, she just wants me to spend time with her, just sitting down, laying down, doing nothing. Which sometimes it's like but in a loving way. You want to just spend time with her as she is right now. She's probably like, I don't want to do this video, but she's here doing a video with me, and I appreciate that. Okay, so we're all right. So hopefully that's helped, guys. Stay tuned. Subscribe to our channel for more updates. Hit the bell icon so you get the latest updates. Not only marriage, but other stuff that we talk about on protecting families by protecting the pack. So our next one, we're going to talk about equals and roles with the husband, wife, and children on the role that we're supposed to play, the perspective we're supposed to have a godly marriage. Okay. So thank you, and we'll talk to you next time.